Nisboere word met trots geborg deur Laveld Agrochem en JAC Motors. Saam boer ons vooruit. Hier sal jy boer. Hier sal jy boer.
Jabuticaba bessies en suiwelprodukte, dis in ons program vandag.
En verkleermannetjies.
Ja, julle het reg gehoor, verkleermannetjies. Hallo, ek is Philip Venter.
En ek is Corne Liebenberg. Welkom by Nisboere.
In hierdie episode van Nisboere. Die Jabuticaba is 'n boom wat 'n perskleurige swart vrug met 'n wit pulp produseer. En dit groei eienaardig genoeg direk in die stam van die boom. Dit kan net so geëet word of gebruik word in jellies, konfyt of wyn. Hierdie bessies word geproduseer in die hart van die Giba Gorge by Gibaland, 'n toerismebestemming waar jy watervalle, fietsryroetes, stap- en perdryroetes sal aantref. Daar is 'n veilige hawe by die strand in die Kaap waar dwergverkleermannetjies veilig voel. Hier word omgesien na verkleermannetjies wat gered is, waarna hulle weer veilig vrygelaat word. Maar Robin Saunders, wat hierdie hartswerk doen, is ook die enigste persoon in Suid-Afrika wat 'n permit het om met verkleermannetjies te teel. Agri Expo is al sedert 1834 betrokke in die Suid-Afrikaanse suiwelbedryf, toe die heel eerste Suid-Afrikaanse suiwelkampioenskap met een doel voor oë gehou is, naamlik om uitnemendheid in suiwelprodukte te bevorder. Die jaarlikse kampioenskap het op 8 Maart in Durbanville plaasgevind. Nisboere het gaan inloer. Hier is Corne en Philip.
Hallo julle en baie welkom.
Corne, bessies, suiwel en verkleermannetjies, wil jy nou meer?
Philip, ja, die Nisboere is juist die program waar ons kyk na al hierdie baie interessante nisidees.
Wel, meer nis as dit kan mens seker nie kry nie. Ek sien veral uit na daai verkleermannetjie bydra.
Yes, ja, ek het my eie een gehad, ja, dis een van my gunsteling van besê pets. Nou ja, kom ons kop af met hierdie lieflike bydra oor die Jabuticaba bessie. Ons het by die pragtige Gibaland gaan kuier.
Gibaland is a piece of land that's in a valley very close to Durban, about 20 kilometers. Natural habitat. We've got sort of lots of indigenous trees, some flora and fauna. We've got lots of interesting things going on here. We've got restaurants, we have some bike trails and hiking trails. And we've been going now for about 10 years. My main work, or what puts food on the table, is a company that I've got, Ubergrass, the grass warehouse. I do artificial grass. I would say about 3 years ago we started putting in a restaurant, teepee tents. We got people that come and stay over the weekend. We've got events that go on here. We've got a small wedding venue, outdoor wedding venue. So we've been blessed in that we've been supported by the local communities and Pinetown, Durban in general. So Jabuticaba berries or the Jabuticaba trees has now been going on for about 12, 15 years. It's a passion of mine. I am a landscaper. I came across the tree in Durban roughly about 15 years ago. I was moving some trees for a client. I noticed this very unusual, beautiful, amazing tree, aesthetically, in terms of the leaves, the branches, etc. And the gentleman explained to me that the previous owner had been all over the world, that he had brought all these weird and wonderful plants and trees, and this was one of them. And the amazing thing is obviously that the fruit didn't grow traditionally on the end of the branches, but it actually grew on the stem, on the branches, and it looked weird and wonderful. And he offered for me to taste it, and that's when I was completely sort of blown away, excuse the expression, but you know, the fruit is so sweet. It's an amazing fruit. It reminded me of when I was in Portugal between the ages of 8 and 12, living with my grandparents, and it tasted like our table grapes. So aesthetically, the way the leaves were, the color of the leaves, the branches, the way the plant actually peels like a leopard tree, you know, the rough and sort of, it's not straight stems, it's like crooked stems. It was an amazing looking tree. So yes, that's how it all started, the fruit, the taste of the fruit and the amazing tree. And from there, I've been growing the tree now I've been growing from seeds. So I've got approximately about 20,000 trees, which I've grown from seed. And everyone that I've given the fruit to taste is simply sort of amazed at how nice the fruit is and that they haven't seen it in the shops before. So I aim to change that. So the fruit itself in Brazil is very popular. It's one of their top fruits. So I'm in the process of introducing it to South Africa, or reintroducing, let's put it that way, because there are trees out there and people that have tasted absolutely love the fruit and are keen on buying trees. And I'm sort of going about this in a two-pronged way. One, I have the trees growing in plastic bags, so I can ship them all over the country if deemed necessary. So I can sell a tree or 2 trees or whatever the client requires, that they can have this fruit in their garden, growing in their garden. And I've also been planting that I will be in future producing fruit to supply the various fruit and veg shops and any sort of niche markets. The Jabuticaba, in terms of the fruit itself, is unique in that it gives you, the tree itself gives you more than 1 crop per year. I've had personally about 3 crops in 1 year. Of course, it's very sweet. It's got all the health benefits that one would look in a fruit. And of course, the skin is quite tough, so you don't actually have insect problems that can damage the fruit. So the tree is also exceptional in that it can grow in the shade. They grow very well in the sun. It's got a very small root system, which makes a tree moderate growing. But also you can grow it in a pot. You can have it in a pot in the garden. You can literally have it in your lounge and pick fruit from the tree in the lounge. So I keep the trees to about 3 meter height. By pruning them, it doesn't affect the fruit-bearing capabilities, because the fruit actually grows on the stem and the branches. And then what I do basically is that I put a bird netting when the fruit is about to go purple. I collect my fair share, make beautiful jam, amazing jam. I then leave the net on for about 2 weeks to make sure that the fruit gets to its full sort of sweetness. I then collect the fruit that I require. I leave some on the tree for the birds and the monkeys, and we all live happily. Besides the love for agriculture, I just think that inherently we all like to sort of tinker. We all want to tinker with soil. We all want to grow something. We get pleasure of growing something. Sometimes we don't have the ability or the facility, call it that, and not so much ability, but we don't have the knowledge, know-how, and we sort of fail maybe when then you start to say you don't have green fingers, which is actually not the case. It's just you may not have the knowledge or you may not have the time. But inherently, I think we all like to grow stuff. We all get pleasure of seeing something grow and bear fruit or flower or nuts or vegetable, whatever it may be. So I think going forward, and if one actually even looks, for example, what we've had recently, when we've had COVID and everybody got a fright that things are going to run out in the shops and that type of thing, would have been ideal for everyone to have their little fruit trees and their little vegetables, and we were caught a little bit flat-footed. I just think that as time goes on, I think more and more people should, instead of just planting trees that only provide shade, that you should plant trees and vegetables that you can, just look after it and eat from it and use it in the garden. Ideally, that's what I think landscaping should go more towards.
Net hierna, die Kaapse dwergverkleurmannetjie. Hier jou trapsuitjie. Nisboere word met trots geborg deur Laveld Agrochem en JAC Motors. Nisboere word met trots geborg deur Laveld Agrochem en JAC Motors.
Welkom terug. En nou vir ons beloofde bydra oor die Kaapse dwergverkleurmannetjie. Verkleurmannetjie of trapsuitjie, Philip?
Wel, ek sou sê albei. Hy's klein, hy trap suitjies en dan kan hy nog van kleur verander.
Presies, Philip. Geniet die bydra.
My passion for chameleons started, I think when I was a kid. It's probably some of the fondest memories I have growing up. going down the south coast or up the north coast with my mum and dad. And my dad screeching on brakes, pulling over to save a chameleon, trying to cross the road. My father was passionate about chameleons, and it was only later when we purchased our home. Walked outside one afternoon, and on the telephone line, there was this lonesome chameleon walking the tightrope. So I went and I got this long stick, put a branch on the end, and was actually amazed, couldn't believe my eyes that, to actually find one in our first home that we've purchased. From there, my wife actually found a second one in one of the fruit trees in the garden, and from there, that's how the sanctuary actually started. We're the only people in South Africa with a permit issued by South African Nature Conservation to keep the Cape Dwarf chameleon in captivity and breed them for the sole purpose of releasing back into nature. So currently we have 37 adults, 35 teenagers, and we've had, over the last 3 weeks, we've had 59 little babies that have been born. What fascinates me about chameleons is obviously one, I mean, if you look at there's the way they sort of change color and they adapt to their different environments. Their skin is actually made up of 8 different layers of crystals, and that's how they sort of change their color and adapt to all the different environments. The characteristics of each individual chameleon are super interesting because each one has their own personality and sort of behavior. Coloring of chameleons, I mean, they can vary from like dark brown to super like sort of bright neon. A lot of them that we've rescued from the sort of Durbanville sort of areas have these beautiful bright turquoise colors that come through. But yeah, I mean, it's incredible how they can change just with a little bit of light, heat. Literally, yeah, in a matter of seconds, they can change. Super interesting fact as well about a female chameleon. Once she's been impregnated, she doesn't have to be re-impregnated and can give birth for up to 4 years. Generally, they'll give birth to anything from 7 to 17 babies at a time, and roughly 3 to 4 times a year. I think the most important thing which we're trying to portray and get across to the community, if you find a chameleon in your garden in its sort of natural habits and like environment, chameleons don't drink water out of a bowl. They lick the dew off the leaves of the trees and shrubs that they're in. So to look after them, what we generally do is just a light misting, not of all the leaves and shrubs around. Another thing that you can do to attract a bit of food into the area, you can hang small pieces of fish in the various sort of trees and shrubs, as well as throwing all your fruit, veg and offcuts into the actual flower beds and surroundings. Obviously the fruit and veg, throwing into the surroundings, it'll attract little fruit flies and a variety of different insects for them to feed on. So basically, I mean, we'll take in chameleons. So if anyone finds a chameleon that's injured, we're always there to help. We'll go out and collect them from you. We've got all the necessary medication and that, depending on what's wrong with them. Generally, majority of the time, they're dehydrated or they've been injured. So yeah, you can contact me and just drop us a message.
Ja, dit was nou 'n mooi insetsel en dit is definitief opvallend die laaste sê maar 10, 15 jaar hoe minder mense nog van hulle sien op die paaie in die natuur oral waar ons kom.
Ja, Corneille, dit is waar. Ek wat so baie lief is om fiets te ry ook. Mense het hulle altyd in die natuur gesien, weet, en maar dit is geen en so hulle is nie meer daar nie. Maar dit is mooi om te sien dat daar so 'n organisasie soos hierdie is wat bedreig is probeer beskerm.
Nee, baie beslis, ek graag nog eendag my kinders en hulle kinders moet dan nog sien hoe die oulike goedjies werk en wil dis maar baie unieke ding wat hy met sy tong doen.
Nou ja, julle moenie weghardloop nie. Ons is nou weer terug.
Net hierna, die Suid-Afrikaanse suiwelproduk kampioenskap. Nisboere word met trots geborg deur Laveld Agrochem en JAC Motors. Nisboere word met trots geborg deur Laveld Agrochem en JAC Motors. Nisboere is elke week op die kassie, net hier op Via. Maar as 'n weeklikse dosis van Nisboere gewoon nie genoeg is nie, of as jy miskien weer na 'n episode wil kyk en dit selfs met jou vriende en familie wil deel, kan jy. So maak mens. SMS plaas na 32210 en ons stuur vir jou 'n ontvangserkenning SMS sonder verwyl. Klik op die skakel en ontsluit die info-wrap. Vul dan bloot die klein vormpie in, dis super eenvoudig, en stuur weg. Voortaan ontvang jy al ons episodes, plus insiggewende artikels en wenke.
Welkom terug julle. Agri Expo is al sedert 1834 betrokke in die Suid-Afrikaanse suiwelbedryf, toe die heel eerste Suid-Afrikaanse suiwelproduk kampioenskap gehou is.
Die organisasie beywer hulle vir die bevordering van uitnemendheid in suiwelprodukte.
Vanjaar se kampioenskap het op 8 Maart in Durbanville plaasgevind. Nisboere het gaan inloer.
Yeah, so this year it's an absolute honor and privilege for Agri Expo to be hosting the 191st South African Dairy Championships. We have got a record number of entries, 1,029. I've always wanted to get across the 1,000 mark, and we're there now. We also have 78 producers that's entered. I must say, from that 78 producers, 12 is new producers, and that is amazing. It shows that the industry is growing, shows that the confidence in this competition is growing at this stage. And I just want to thank everybody within the industry for supporting Agri Expo in creating this opportunity so that we can present quality dairy products to the public out there. Thank you to all our partners as well. This year we've got a new platinum partner, IMCD, SA and DSM, and it's a huge honor for us to welcome them as a platinum partner. 3-year contract with them. Thank you very much, DSM and IMCD SA, but also to all our other partners. Without you, we cannot do this. Also to the industry, to the judges, the producers, and everybody that's involved in this championships. It's a huge honor for Agri Expo to deliver this service for the dairy industry.
The cheeses are really, it's an entire process that all the cheesemakers have gone through. There's a lot of passion in cheese making, okay? So a lot of the cheesemakers that you meet and you interact with, you will find that they are really, really passionate about their product. And when you have passion, you take your cheese to the next level. You become creative, you become innovative, you aspire to higher quality and higher standards, and you aspire to consistency. And if you're able to get all those factors and you're able to pull them together and craft the cheese in your hands or with your team of cheese makers, you are then able to produce fantastic cheese. Judging quality in South Africa is at a very high level. It's definitely on par with international standards. I've had the privilege of being able to judge internationally for 3 years in the UK and also in Italy, and we have absolutely nothing to fear in terms of the quality of the judging in this country. We have highly qualified judges, lots of experience, people that have come through the production of dairy products for many years. So there's absolutely no reason for us to doubt the judging quality in this country. We have good, well-experienced judges who know the product categories very well.
This is about my 4th or 5th time judging here, so it's nice to be back, dodging the English winter. So I've been judging this morning Gouda, which is the sort of the standard day-to-day cheese that we get down here, and some other specialities as well. It's nice to see lots of variation in the different cheese on display. I think this year there's more cheeses on display for testing, so it's good to see that the industry is growing and there's a bit more variation. My wheelhouse is cheddar. Unfortunately, I've not had the chance to taste any yet, but I might go and just stick an eye in a few just to see what it's like. I think one of the good things about South African dairy industry is the milk quality. The milk that you get down here is really good for making cheese. High quality, good protein and fat. So from a cheese making point of view, it's perfect.
So I'm currently judging a product called kefir, also known as kefir. It's actually the first time that this is featured in the judging. It's a new product. Fairfield Dairy packs this currently. It is basically a fermented product such as Mars. The texture is like a drinking yogurt, but it's more acidic. It almost has a fizzy note to it. You can call it carbonated. So it may be mistaken as an off note, but it's actually the characteristic of the product to be fizzy.
So I've been a judge 4 times and absolutely enjoy this day. It's a lovely day to test all the products in the market, what's new. There is, it's very exciting to see what else we're going to find and what categories you're going to get. I've been doing the UHT milk category for a while, so I've just been doing that, and now some cottage cheese, and I'm going to be doing yogurts as well. Very excited for the yogurt category. The Dairy Championships is really a prestigious event, and it's just puts our customers out there in the market, and I think it's very important for them to get that gold sticker and get those qualities, so people understand that the dairy industry is very, very special. The dairy industry does need to grow, and I think we need to get the young generation involved and excited about the dairy industry, sharing all our knowledge with them, and just we need a succession plan, and very excited to maybe share our knowledge. We've got a lot of knowledge in the dairy industry. We need to pass it on before we all get too old and move on. So looking forward to sharing that together with dairy championships like this and other dairy functions so that we can create some excitement.
Nou ja, dit bring sy aan die einde van nog 'n program. Baie dankie vir die lekker saamkuier.
Volgende week is ons terug met nog kookwater Nisboere. Groetnis.
Mooi loop en onthou asseblief om ons Nisboere te ondersteun. Julle sal sien hierdie reeks van produkte van hulle word deurlopend elke week meer en meer.
Hier sal jy boer. Dit is jou land. Dit is die klank wat jy are. Nisboere word met trots geborg deur Laveld Agrochem en JAC Motors. Saam boer ons vooruit.